I want to talk about some of the things that are happening in our country today, and make the point that our battle is a spiritual battle. It's a warfare between good and evil, right versus wrong, and that things are getting worse instead of getting better. Day by day by day by day. For an example, this week, the government announced that in the military, they are allowing transgender people, if they were walking down the road, and all of a sudden they're marching, and they decide, oh, I feel like a girl. They can run and change and put on a dress and get in this line with heels. Isn't that amazing? Or if they want to wear lipstick, they can. And not only that, they also can, if they want to have a body part change, they want to go from a male body part to a woman body part, or a woman to a male, the military is going to now pay for it. Well, they've already been paying for it, but they're definitely going to pay for it now because they don't want them to have to go outside of the military to have a body part, sex change, or whatever they call it. So we're now paying for that in the military. We're already paying for it in the prisons. Can you imagine a military with some woman running around thinking that she's a man, or some man running around thinking that he is a woman? I mean, that is mental illness. It is absolutely, they are possessed. You know, in the Bible, it talks about people who were possessed and those who were not. Well, these people are possessed, and we have a government that is now okaying that. Mentally ill people can run around in the military. Can you imagine being in the foxhole thing? Isn't it called foxhole? Underground thing? And you look around thinking that, oh, I got my buddy back there, he got my back. And you look around and some guy in a dress, would you feel safe? I was thinking that ISIS and the Taliban, our enemies, must be just overjoyed about what we're doing. They're probably just having a heyday. I would have thought when the government announced that you can now be dress in drag in the military, that the whole country would be protesting, out rallying and marching and disagreeing. I heard a few people complain about it, but no marches, no rallies, no nothing. While the radical homosexual movement is taking over our country, this is not good for us. And it's gonna get worse before it gets better, because our country has allowed the government to completely take over. They rule us now. We don't tell them what to do, they tell us what to do. They can lie to us. Loretta Lynch, the Department of Justice woman, and Bill Clinton met this past weekend sometime in her private plane. So they landed in Arizona together. Bill Clinton got off and went on to her plane. They told the media, and the FBI told the media, everybody to go back, take no pictures, no nothing. They met for 30 minutes, it's been reported. And when Loretta Lynch was asked about it, she said, oh, Bill Clinton just wanted to say hello, and he wanted to talk about his grandchildren. Isn't that amazing? He just said hello at a time where Hillary is under investigation. So they can lie to us, just tell us anything. And I remember a time when the government was afraid to lie to we the people, the voters. They were afraid to lie to us, but now they can do it. I have a few more things I want to share with you that's happening in our country. And I have to tell you about the gun thing. If they are allowed to take our guns, it's over. I saw this story this morning, someone gave it to me. There was a mother charged with murder and the death of her 4 children. This is according to Fox News. And this happened in Memphis, Tennessee. This woman stabbed the kids. a 4-year-old boy, a 3-year-old girl, 2-year-old girl, and a 6-month-old girl. The 7-year-old boy escaped. The deputies found these bodies in this woman's apartment. So it sounded as though this woman was not married, and she had all these kids, was not married. And we have allowed having children out of wedlock in this country to be popular now. No shame, no embarrassment. Have as many as you want, and don't worry, the government will pay for them. Have them with any man that you want, and we'll take care of them. It's difficult for women to raise children by themselves. It really is. It's not an easy thing to do, especially after about 3 years old, because kids does not listen to mama after 3. And some of them even prior to that. And so just imagine this woman had 5 kids that she was raising and no husband. It doesn't appear that she had a husband. And she's very emotional and angry and out of control. Look what happened. And I'm sure the devil told her, you know what, you can't handle this, these brats, get rid of them. And she killed her kids, allegedly. I have to say that right now. But yet no one is saying you should not be having these babies out of wedlock. We're not going to pay for them. If you have babies out of wedlock, you're on your own. If your family don't help you out, you're on your own. And I guarantee you, this mess will stop. This is evil, absolute evil. It will end if we didn't pay for it. But it's popular now, no shame, the movie stars are doing it. And so if they're doing it, why can't we do it? California, there's a bill, AB 1732, is forcing everyone to relabor single-user restrooms. You know how you have man and woman? Some big-foot, too tall man standing in the woman's restroom when you run in there. Isn't that amazing? You and your little girl running in there, and this man is there, and you can't do anything about it. They tested this at Target. A man went in there, he wanted to use the women's restroom or whatever. He went over to the manager and said, I'm a man, but I feel like a woman, and I'm going into the women's restroom. Any problem? And he's like, no problem. Go ahead, sir. And he said, well, what about if some woman comes in and she started complaining about it? He said, well, just have her see me. How come this can happen? It just doesn't even make sense. The government should not believe that they can even come up with this idea. Let's say they're at a radical transgender meeting, and they're complaining, I want to use whatever shower I want to. And somebody should say, you know what, say, get behind me. But somebody said, yeah, that's a great idea. So let's vote on it. There's another one, SB 1146. This is in California, but it's coming your way as well. SB 1146 forces Christian colleges to hire and accept homosexuals and transgenders unless they specifically oppose it in posting on campuses. So what that means is that if you're a Christian school and you don't want the homosexuals to go or the drag queens to go, you have to post it on campus somewhere saying no drag queens accepted. But what that's going to lead to is a lawsuit, because you're outwardly saying what you're saying, and they're going to say you're discriminating against us. That's a setup. Isn't that a setup? So if I have this big sign that says no homosexuals allowed, this is a Christian school, or no drag queens, then they're going to sue you. It's like we don't know that they're going to sue us. Put a sign out there so we can know who you are. Isn't that amazing? I still don't hear rallies from the preachers. There are enough churches in this country where the preachers and their members can get together and say no to this, and it would not happen. Because there are more Christians than there are atheists and radical drag queens and homosexuals. Is a lesbian called a drag queen too? What do they call a lesbian? butch, but whatever they are. And two more, HR 54/SR79, officially celebrate Pride Month. So June in California is Homosexual Pride Month. And so they get this bill passed, they're going to officially celebrate it. So that means that your tax dollars and everything else will go toward that. And they may give you a day off at work, like a Martin Luther King Jr. holiday or something. They may turn it into a holiday. And yet, nothing from the Christians. Nothing from the preachers. And if you are a person who speaks out about it, even the preachers are turned against you. You know what I mean? It is so crazy. One more. This is AB 2531. It's let women get paid to donate eggs for research. They say the problem with the bill is it often leads to physical and psychological damage, and the eggs become fertilized and become human beings. Then they get killed. So that's going to be voted on in June. This is all evil all the time. All evil all the time. We are allowing evil to take over, and we are doing nothing about it. We could barely get people to call their representatives and say no to this. And a lot of folks are afraid because they don't want to get fired. I understand that you don't want to get fired, but these people are getting worse and worse and worse. Remember when the radicals wanted to just come out of the closet years ago? We just want to come out of the closet. We don't want anything else. We were like, no, because if we let you come out of the closet, then you're going to want to go more and more and more. Like, no, we just want to come out the closet. Nothing else. And the people were saying, no, 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 but they kept pushing and pushing, then they came out of the closet. Look where they are today. Drag queen, mentally ill people are being forced upon us. And we all know that is wrong. We know that is wrong. These people are filled with evil spirits, evil identities, and yet they're promoting it as good. You're standing in the shower when you're traveling or whatever you do. If you're a lady, a man can just walk in that shower, take off his clothes, and get right in there with you. And if you say anything, you will get in trouble. Just think of the guys who are going to pretend to be a drag queen, or whatever they call them. But the guy's going to end up in jail because these very laws are going to turn on them even more so. And some guys are stupid enough to do it too. They can't help it because they're out of control. So they're going to take advantage and go into these women's showers, even though the law says you can. They're going to go in, pretend to be a man, and end up in prison. Or their names on some computer for being called raped, accused of rape. This is happening in the country. I was at the gym the other day talking to a bunch of guys. We just kind of standing around talking. And they were complaining about their wives and their girlfriends. And these was a bunch of white guys, black guys, and Indian, well, not Indian, Arab-looking guys. Well, I can't tell if they're Indian, or Arab, or Armenian, because they all look alike to me. So these guys are complaining about their wives and girlfriend and just going off, right? And some guys said, well, why do you think this is happening? And they had all kind of excuses. And then I finally said, well, the reason it happened is because you guys are women, and you don't know how to deal with a woman right. And they're like, what do you mean we're women? I said, do you have anger? And they said, all of them said, yes, they have anger because anger is natural. Everybody has anger. It's just that it all depends on how you let it control you, how you use it. Anger can be used for good or bad. They were going on and on, right? And so I said, well, any man who has anger is a woman. I made sure I emphasized the woman thing. And they were like, oh, what do you mean? They were like going off, right? And I said, you guys have become like your mothers. And that's why you complain about your women, because you hate, you become attracted to what you hate. So you're involved with women that you're involved in women that are just like your mothers and you can't handle them. And one white guy said, well, Einstein didn't say that. Some smart white man. Freud, yeah, sure did, right. Did he talk about that or something? Because one white guy said, oh, well, Freud, whatever he said, didn't say that. I said, well, I don't care what he said. You guys need to overcome your mother's identity and take on your father's identity so you can become real men. Then you can handle life better. And one black guy said, well, my mother was wonderful. She was perfect. There was nothing wrong with my mother. It was my father. And I said, well, do you have any brothers and sisters? You should chat with them and see if they feel the same way. And he said, well, my brother and sister hate my mother. He said they hate her with passion. And they have taken the side of my father and not my mother. So he took the side of his mother, and his brother and sister took the side of his father. And so I told him that, well, if you have to be close to one of your parents, it's best to be close to the father. You should love both of them, don't hate either. But if you got to be close to one, it should be the father. And he said, well, my brother and sister listened to my father talk about my mother. He talked about her, and then they believed it, and now they were her. I said, well, you believe what your mother said about the father, right? He's like, yeah. But he didn't see anything wrong with that. But it was a very, very interesting discussion. And I realized that it's not just with black people or white people. If fathers and mothers are not united in the right way, this traumatizes all children of all races. And this is why we are having this problem right now in America, because men are no good. Men are weak. Men don't think like men. They don't have the mindset of a man. They don't know what a man feels like or think or act. Everything they say and do is that of a woman, of their mother. That's all they know. That's absolutely all they know. And that's why we are losing this battle, because when you lose the men, then you lose the world. You lose the man in the home, the family fall apart. Because the father is a spiritual head. He brings love and everything into the family. Safety, provide. He set that perfect example. You look at him. But if you notice, the average man is angry, emotional, out of control, can't hardly. I even know men and women who are intentionally, well, I don't know if they're intentionally doing it, but they're raising their boys like a girl. They tell them what to do, they take care of them, they provide for them, they don't really make them earn their way. That's how mothers raise their children. Nowadays, but it wasn't like that when I was growing up. My grandmother did not. My grandma made us work. I don't ever remember not working growing up. So, they were not like that in the good old days when boys were boys and men were men, but it's totally like that now. You guys don't know this person. They live over there, way over there. And this person is about, I would guess about 40 to 45, 46. And his mother tell him everything to do. Everything. How to dress, when to dress, where to go, take me here, take me there. He can't even have a life. Because he hates her so much, and she won't stop controlling him, and he hates the control, because he hates it, he can't get away from it. Isn't that amazing? And she doesn't love him enough to let him go. And I'm seeing more and more and more of that. These are like real serious times, folks. We're under attack. The family is destroyed. Common sense is out the window. Men are not men and women are not women. It's crazy. This is all evil. Our battle is a spiritual battle, a battle between good and evil. And you're not going to be able to clearly see it and clearly understand it until you're born again, until you overcome your own personal anger, until you forgive so that you can enter into the kingdom of heaven within. You're not going to be able to overcome this. And the attacks that come as a result of being an honest man or woman are major attacks. Name calling, threats, all kind of stuff. And so if you don't love what's right with all your heart, soul, and might, you're not going to be able to endure this on your own. It's just not going to happen. All right? Any questions for me or comments?
I just want to say that almost everything you addressed this morning, it's a persistent, like a concept that they have. The whole idea is to destroy the family.
Yes.
Because once you destroy the family, then if people don't have a family to identify with, then they're going to worship the government. And that's what the whole thing's about.
That's right.
If they take away your family experience, then you're going to think of the government as your family.
That's right. And I noticed that happened with the black family. You know, I was up visiting Justice Clarence Thomas last Sunday. I'm not bragging all the way. I'm bragging a little bit. And that's the first thing he asked me, what do you think happened? When did this all happen? And I said, as far as I can remember, it goes all the way back to the 60s with the black family. And the first thing they did, they removed the fathers. And when you remove the father, you remove God from the wife and the children. And when you remove God, then Satan comes in and take over. Have you noticed that there are so many mentally ill people now? There are more mentally ill people than I've seen, and men. There are so many mentally ill men that it's crazy. Even men who are dressed in suit and going to work, they're still mentally ill. They can't have a real conversation. They have no common sense at all. It's crazy. They're afraid. They have doubt. And I've not seen this before. And then on the streets, there are so many mentally ill people, and they're filled with the spirit of their father, the devil. And anyone who has anger has your father's nature. You don't have God's nature, you have Satan's nature. Satan is your father. And so out on the streets, we're seeing it more and more and more and more. It is absolutely insane. Sometime I'm walking down the road, and I remember my producer and I were walking down the road, and we saw this black man. Now I see him a lot when I'm walking. And I'm like, I was telling James, I should go over there and put my hands on him and heal him. But I knew I was going to put my hands on him because he looked too crazy. But I was going to go over to him and tell the demons to come out of him. I still might do it. I see him all the time. So I still might do it. But that's all it is. It's demon possessed. That's all that it is. No madness. No madness. And then if you are a man, they want to attack you for being a man. Oh, you hate women. Wait a minute. A man don't say you hate women. That's not manly. That's what the woman says, not you. Any man from now on, any man that says you hate women, you're a girl. I started using another word. Men don't say you hate women. You got that from some woman. I met this man who has been living with a woman for a while, and the relationship has been rough. The woman wants to get married, and the man doesn't. The man admitted hating her mother. He hates her mother because the mother ruled. And the man's fiance has already said she's not going to take his last name. She's going to hold on to her own name. It's not going to be hyphenated. The man, this woman, his fiance told him his job wanted to send him to another state to live, and she's like, no, I want to live in this state and you're staying too. And he's scared to leave. And the days were counting down as to when the wedding's going to be. When I saw him, he had 6 days left. And poor guy, you could see that he's just stressed out to the max. Doesn't want to do it. And he was like, I said, well, how do you feel about getting married? And he said, well, I haven't paid any attention to this wedding thing at all. And he had 6 days left. I said, so how you feel about it? Well, she wanted to do it, and we've been living together. He never did tell me that he wanted to do it. Isn't that amazing? What kind of a man that would marry a woman who will not take his last name? That alone would stop me. Let's say that everything else was fine. Everything. She cooked, cleaned, whatever women do, right? Got up in the morning, and she said, well, you know, Jesse, I'll marry you, but I'm not taking your last name. I would just not marry her. You know what I mean? And besides, she already has a man's last name. She has her father's last name. So it's not like she doesn't have a man's last name. But things are switching in society, and the men are acting like women, and the women are trying to act like men. And the men are going along with it. Can you imagine my grandmother telling my grandmother telling my grandfather, I'm not taking your last name, and you gonna love me? I'm staying, and you gonna love me? That would have never happened. Had my grandmother even thought about that, she would have rebuked the devil. That's another thing. It doesn't say the man is the head of the house. It says the husband is the head of his wife. And the woman is the head of the house. You know, she helped run the house. But the man is the head of his wife, as Christ is the head of the man. Yes?
I was engaged once, and the lady, she said to me that I'm not going to take your name. And I told her that was absolutely fine. I says, but the woman I marry is going to take my name. And so she was able to change on the point. And then the second thing, I think that's going to be another battleground. They're gonna take it away from the man, and they're going to say, I'm going to take the name of my mother. I can see that happening. You know?
Yeah, we don't stop it. It is. I noticed that. And then you have weak, pathetic, poor excuse of men who are taking their wives' last name. That's what I was thinking. They're taking their wife. Now, you know you got to be girly to do that. Any man that takes on his wife's last name is a drag queen. It is. You know that's a drag queen. How you going to tell someone I have my wife's last name? And then also they got it too now where some are taking the last name of the husband and the wife, and they're putting it into like one name. Now you know this is evil. This is the influence of the devil. There's no logic in this. You got to know it's got to be evil. It's not from God, and a common sense person wouldn't come up with some madness like that. But it's happened to because men are weak. They're not representing their Father God. They're not. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but what happens when the kids who have two last names, their mother and their father, hyphenated together, and the man has a hyphenated last name, and he's going to now try to marry a woman who has a hyphenated last name. So is that going to be like 4 hyphenated last names? I haven't seen that yet. What happens?
It goes from madness to madness to madness. This is why men got to rise up and bring good back into the family, into the world. Good comes through men. And men got to rise up and bring it back. If men don't change, then Jesus Christ is going to have to come because all hell is going to break loose. And it getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse already. It just go from, look, we talked earlier about the homosexuals just wanted to come out the closet. Just let us out the closet. And now we're down to drag queen acceptance. And we all knew that any man in a dress had a problem. Remember when we knew that? Remember when men were ashamed to wear dresses in the public? It used to be illegal because we knew it was wrong. Remember those days? No more. You might be working beside a man in a dress. Look and see if he's growing a beard. You know, that overnight shallow thing. Yes.
Yeah, the other thing is, they purposely emptied out the mental institutions, and they purposely cut back on fire and police whenever we demand lower taxes. We demand that they stop the welfare. Instead of stopping the welfare, because that's what buys votes, they cut back on police and release the mental institutions.
Yeah.
That's what they do to punish us.
Yeah. I blame we the people. And I especially blame men and women who call themselves children of God. Because we have the power, we have the authority to overcome evil. In our own lives and in our public life, evil has no power unless it can intimidate you. With name calling or some kind of threat, you give into that, it takes over. If you don't give into that, it cannot take over. When you're screwing up your kids' lives, you're of your father, the devil. And I don't care how much you pretend like you are a child of God. If you're spoiling your kids, if you're not an example for them, if you're not directing them, you're of your father, the devil. Have you noticed, one last thing, you notice how the people who are emotionally affected in a real negative way, they're under attack today? Men and children. Men and children. I just read the story about the mother killing the 4 kids. We hear this a lot now. Abortion, out of control. Everybody and their mama having abortions. We found out that the Planned Parenthood were taking the baby's body parts and selling them for a profit. Nothing was done about it. We still pay them to do it. Men and children are under attack. Have you noticed that? Mm-hmm. Men and children. Let me say here, did you have another question?
You say something, have an opinion, that's politically incorrect.
Yeah.
And so that's how they're shutting everyone up.
But see, if we love God with all our heart, soul, and might, they can't do that. They can't shut us up for some stupid political correctness, because we will understand that those people who are trying to shut us up are of their father, the devil. And we would not give in to that, and then they can't shut us up. You know what I mean? But the problem is they have this fear, and they're going along. Okay, I can't say that. Okay, I won't say it. I can't do this. Okay, I won't do it. Whatever they tell us, that's what we do. And look where it's gotten us. And the races, the blacks and the white, the race, we're more divided. We should not be divided in 2016. We should be like just regular folks with one another. We get mad at you, it has nothing to do with your color. You get mad at you, it has nothing to do with you being a man or a woman. It's just regular folks. We are more divided today than any other time in the history of America. This is not good, and we're Christians. I want to talk about how to overcome this. Right here. Tell us how to overcome it. Hold on for the mic. Because I have about 5 minutes left. How do we overcome this?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
You see what's happening, all right? You see it. How do you feel about what you see happening in the country?
I mean, to me, it seems like when you're talking about certain things, like you don't know who you're talking to, and then some people, like they get offended. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I was talking about these guys who are coming into the club, and they're dancing with each other. And I made a comment. I said, 2 years ago, we didn't see this. And now, I said, I go to this club to dance because it's not there, but now it's coming to us. And
I know.
I made that comment to someone, and she said, well, that's the same way white people felt about us when we were going into their club and we were dancing at their club. I said, no, that's different. And we got into a discussion about it. I said, well, I just don't like it. I feel uncomfortable, and I go there to dance with a man.
Yeah.
I don't go there to see 2 men dancing together.
And
So
in the good old days when boys were boys and men were men, evil would not impose itself upon the good folk like that, because it knew that the good people would not accept it. But now these people come into your club, and they come where you are and just impose themselves. They're all in your face about it. You don't go to them, they'll come to you so you can see it, so that they can flaunt it, so that they can irritate you, so you can get in trouble. And it's not going to stop until we stop it. I would have just gone, oh, are you crazy? What does homosexuality have to do with being black? Black was something we can never hide. Ask Michael Jackson. He tried to be white. And that's what they're trying to do to the churches right now. They want you to put signs out to let us know if you don't hire transgender people or homosexuals. Put your sign out there. We're going to come and sue your pants off, sue you out of business. So you don't know how to overcome it. Can you tell us how to change this?
Like you said, the power is in Christians. Like Christians have this, it's not, we don't endow ourselves with the power, but it comes from our Creator.
Yeah.
And we need to realize that we have that power, especially if we take care of our own ship.
Yes.
Because we have our own issues individually. So I think that if everyone just takes care of themselves and repents and does all that, then the other stuff will come naturally.
That's right. And start with each individual first. The beginning of salvation is to know thyself. Look at yourself, know thyself, be honest about thyself. Then you can start, God will take that fear, that spirit away from you. Then you can live it. Then you won't put up with this crap. Because you know your Father is with you, and that in Him there is no fear, in Him there is no doubt, in Him there is no hate, there is no worry. It's all love, all power. But you got to be born again. And the reason that a lot of Christians are afraid is because they are not born again of God. If you have any anger, iota of anger, then you have fear. And if you have fear, you're of your father, the devil. It starts with us. We must be born again, and we do have that power. We have the authority in us. Christ is with us, God is with us, and the Holy Spirit is with us. All power has been given unto us through them. And if we are born again, we would know it, and we can fight evil with that. And they'll call you hater, they'll call you names. It wouldn't move you at all, because you would see they don't have real power at all. They only have try to intimidate you, deceive you, so they can control you. Their father have no power. Satan has no power at all. He can only deceive you, and then you'll do it to yourself. You'll carry it out if he can make you believe it. And most of the Christians are believing into the lie, and they have fear and doubt. They're worried about this and worried about that. They don't know their Father God, and so they believe that they can't do it. So that's why they give into the political correctness stuff. You must be born again. You need a new nature, a renewed mind. And it starts with each individual first, salvation first. Then it spreads out into the world. You got to overcome your anger. How many still have anger here? Wow. Amazing. Wow. You have anger.
Sure.
Are you a Christian?
Yeah, I get angry when I see bad things happen to people in the news media, unfair practices or whatever.
Right.
And I feel like, the issues with the local and county and state governments, I think they're not very caring about their citizens who pay a lot of taxes. Those things make me angry.
And what good does it do you to be angry?
Probably none.
Do you see that it doesn't do you any good?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, it doesn't really.
Right,
The
so why-
act of being angry doesn't do me any good. But if that inspires me to get up and try to make a difference.
No, anger is not going to let you do anything. It'll let you, with anger, you'll do a few things, but you won't win. Because you got to overcome evil, and you can only overcome evil with perfect love, which is the love of God inside of you. Why not just let the anger go and live with that perfect love, which is the real power?
I think when you get out there and you're dealing with, say governments, unless you show that you're really upset, they won't listen to you.
No, they'll listen. The one thing I want you to know, don't be mad at the government, don't be mad at the radical homosexuals, don't be mad at the haters, because they're doing what they do. They're of their father, the devil. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They represent their father. And so we have to understand that and realize that they're doing their job, and we have to do our job and not be mad at them so you can overcome them. You can beat them. But if you're mad at them, you're one of them, and you can't beat them like that. And so the government would change if we, the people, change. The people have the type of government that they deserve because that's what they voted in.
Yeah.
The government didn't vote itself in. We voted them in.
I just think that it's kind of hard for you not to be angry about things that you see that's unfair. You know,
Right.
how can you not be upset about, things that you see on your job or, anywhere? How can you not be upset about it? How can you
By
overcome it?
allowing God to take that angry spirit, that identity away from you, so it's not there at all, then you see injustice, you will see that it's evil, and you can also see what to do about it. But as long as you have that inside of you, you will be angry. But then you have no power. But that's why I said you must be born again. That means you gotta, before you can enter into the kingdom within, you must forgive. And that way God can take that anger away. And what you're forgiving is you are sorry about hating your fellow man. You're sorry about hating yourself and hating others. And when you can recognize that, God will take it away from you. Then you have perfect love, and there is no anger. Then you can deal with it. You can see wrongdoing, but you also understand they can't see. You understand what's driving them. It's not them, but it's their father, the devil, that has made a home inside of them because you have come from that place, and at one time you couldn't see. So you're not going to have that anger. It just won't be there. That make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people don't believe that you can live a life free of anger. But you can. But you must be born again. Your Father God is all love all the time. He is never judging you. He's never against you. He knows what you're going to do before you do it. That's why he sent Christ to help you overcome it. He already knows. So he loves you. He's just waiting on you to realize you're wrong so he can take care of you. And you're not going to ever be free until you can learn not to hate, until you overcome that spirit. So I want to say we got some serious problems on our hands in this country. And to the men, you have an obligation given to you by God to return to your Father, love him with all your heart, soul, and might, and then protect your family, protect your community, and protect your schools. Because in closing, if you notice, the home's been taken away from the men, the community has been taken away, the educational system has been taken away, businesses have been taken away, the government has been taken away, and that's not by chance. That is planned, and it's planned for a reason. You weaken the man, evil comes in and take over. And children and fathers are suffering today, or men are suffering. So you got to overcome your anger by realizing you have it. And when you realize that, God will do the rest. I appreciate you tuning in. And happy 4th of July. You like my shirt?
Well, I don't care where they bury my body, Lord, I don't care where they bury my body, Lord, I don't care where they bury my body, 'cause my soul is gonna live with God, live with God. Now I'm going on down to the river, stick my soul up in the sand, gonna shout my troubles over.